Hey guys, welcome to NFL Week 17. It's Saturday, so I'm putting this video out right after I'm done shooting it, and hopefully you guys get the notification and can get your bets in before tomorrow's games, obviously. So again, before I start, like, subscribe, tell your friends, comment, and continue to help build this channel up. I appreciate it. This is the last week of the season. I think I started the video like halfway through the season, so not really a full season in terms of uploading videos, but thanks for all your support, and we're gonna hopefully finish strong heading into the playoffs. So we'll have to address last week. It was, listen, although I've only uploaded half the season, I've been betting all year. 17 weeks, 16 weeks, you're gonna run into a bad week, and that was that was my week. It was a throwaway week. I went 1-5. I haven't had a week like that. My worst weeks really have been like 2-2, like 500. So that was a bad week. I'll recap quickly. I typically do not regret any picks because, again, the only thing we can do is place good bets, and the rest is up to the players. A lot of randomness in sports, so it is what it is. But I'll go through these games quickly. The only one I got right was Vegas against Miami. Vegas, what a crazy ending to that game against Miami. They should have won, but this is why you don't take Vegas as a favorite. We were catching points, so we ended up covering that game. Arizona, I really liked Arizona last week against San Fran. I don't know, that was a game where Arizona needed, and they didn't show up, and that was disappointing that they didn't. Not only did they not cover, they just lost the game outright. So, but I don't regret taking Arizona in that spot. My Rams, I watched that game, and yeah, Jared Goff. I mean, the Rams, they made a couple mistakes, and when you make a couple mistakes against a team that's led by Russell Wilson, you're going to get screwed. He threw a terrible interception when they were driving. They could have went up 2 scores. He threw a pick, and that totally changed the momentum of that game. And then later in the game, I think it was 6-6, something like that, and then he was at the first and goal from the 2. They couldn't score. Third and goal from the 1. Goff tried a QB sneak, and you're 6'4", man, jump, protect the ball, but get into the end zone there, and he couldn't get in, and they scored 0 points. So those were the 2 turning points in that game where you got to capitalize, especially when you're on the road. And then he breaks his thumb. So Goff, just disaster. But I don't regret taking the Rams. The Eagles, man, again, disappointing showing for that game. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the Eagles were doing. They got blown out against Dallas, and that was a game they really needed to win and to keep their playoff hopes alive, and they just laid an egg. So yeah, I don't know, not much to say with the Eagles there. And the last game, I guess I took New England as well. That was one I really liked. I really liked New England against Buffalo, and I don't know what happened there. It was just blown out. I mean, I'm not going to go too much into these last week's games because they're over, but I like New England for a lot of reasons, and they couldn't come through. Tennessee, they also lost. That was one, again, it was a bit of a weaker pick because I knew that game was either going to be really close or Green Bay was going to blow them out. And when the game started off with a kickoff that went out of bounds, I'm like, uh-oh, this could be ugly, because you're going up against Green Bay. You can't make a lot of mistakes against the Aaron Rodgers-led offense, and Tennessee just, it was one of those games, like I said, either close or Green Bay blows you out, and Green Bay took care of business. So listen, 1-5, I'm still 43-27 on the year, just over 60%. So it is what it is. We got to throw that week out. Last week, I know for a fact that the public cleaned up. I mean, a lot of sharp people were on the games that I picked, and listen, public was on Buffalo, they won. Public was on Seattle, they won. Public was on Dallas, they won. Obviously on Green Bay, they won. Yeah, so I mean, it is what it is. We'll move on to week 17. So week 17, always a tricky week. Don't go too crazy with it because there's a lot of stuff you have to look at. You have to look at who's playing, who's resting guys. Point spreads change a lot in the last week. You got to look at motivation levels for these teams. But you have to remember, a lot of these teams, even though they're out, they're still playing for jobs. They're still playing for contracts next year. So it might not mean a lot for the organization, but for the actual players themselves, being a last game of the season, they're still playing hard. Their next year is not guaranteed for these guys. So there's a lot to consider in week 17, but I got 4 picks, and then that'll be it for the season. So hopefully we finish the season off strong, and then we'll head into the playoffs. I'm pumped for the wild card. We're gonna have 6 wild card games this year with the extra wild card spot. So there'll be 3 games Saturday, 3 games Sunday. So that'll be fun next week. But for this week, let's get into my 4 picks. Let me just bring them up here. So the first game, the New York Jets at the New England Patriots. Patriots are a 3-point favorite. I'm going with New England -3. Very simple here. Listen, the Jets have won 2 games in a row. They beat the Rams. I forget who they beat last week. Are they gonna win? Are the Jets gonna win 3 in a row here? I can't see that happening. And the Patriots just got blown out in a division game on prime time. Are they going to lose another game at home against, a very bad Jets team? I can't see that happening, right? I feel like Adam Gase is done. I guess they're going to part ways after this game. But he's only a 3-point dog. To Belichick, we're talking about the worst coach who's going to be jobless after this game, going against Belichick, who I still think has a lot of pride and should have his team ready to play. New England, the issue with New England is that their offense is very dry. They don't do many things well. Cam Newton's a disaster right now. He can't throw the ball. And New England this year, they didn't just have to get over losing Brady. They lost a lot of guys they had 8 guys opt out this year because of COVID. And that hurt them a lot, especially defensively. And then without Edelman and all these guys on offense as well, it's just New England's really got bit hard this year. But I still think they're going to come to play. They're only a 3-point favorite. They're at home. They continue to lose against divisional opponents like Buffalo, Miami. I think they have to win this game against the Jets just to finish the season off strong. I feel like Belichick's he was pissed last week. He was throwing phones and come on, we gotta give some respect to the Patriots to win this game. The Jets beat the Browns last week, so they beat the Rams, the Browns, and what team starts 0-13 and then goes out on the road and beats the Rams, beats the Browns, and then beats the Patriots? That would be crazy. But listen, I don't know. The Jets are going to play hard. They know they're not getting the number 1 pick anymore, so they're going to give their best effort. But I think New England, I think they should do okay on defense, and I think on offense, the Jets don't have a good defense. Hopefully Cam or whoever's going to be starting at quarterback can get some things going. It's only a field goal. Give me New England -3 against the New York Jets and get Gase out of there. Terrible. My God. So that's my first pick. Second pick. We got Tennessee at Houston. I have the spread at 8.5. This spread in a lot of spots is 7.5 for Tennessee. I'm taking Houston plus 8.5. Very quickly here, Houston, very much like the Raiders. You don't want to take them when they're a favorite. Last week they were a favorite 7.5 over Cincy. They lost the game outright. But Houston's a team worth taking, again, like Vegas, when they're a dog, when they're catching points. Because they have a good offense and they can score points. 8.5 I think is too much. Listen, the Houston, they're 4-11, but they're better than 4-11. Their issue is obviously their defense. They're ranked last against the run. Their defense in general is 30th in the league. They're not very good on defense at all. But their offense can still move, and they're not going against a very good defense for Tennessee. So I see Tennessee winning this game. Tennessee has everything to play for. They have to win to win the division. Houston has nothing to play for, but we saw J.J. Watt post-game during the press conference. He was pissed. He was calling out his team. Deshaun Watson's pissed. The captains are stepping up and saying, guys, we just lost against Cincinnati. We gave up 37 points to the Bengals at home. How does that happen? You have to have some pride as a professional football team. So Houston has played tough against divisional teams. They've lost against the Colts twice this year just by a field goal. I think they'll play Tennessee tough. I expect a high-scoring game, a 37-34, 38-34. I think Tennessee will win. Tennessee doesn't have a good pass rush, so I think Deshaun Watson should have time. They should pick apart the Titans' defense. So if you're going to bet this game, I like Houston plus the points. If you're going to watch this game, when Houston has the ball, watch the game. When Tennessee has the ball, change it to another game. Do not watch Derrick Henry run all over Houston. It would just drive you nuts. He should run for 4,000 yards in this game. It's not going to be fun, but we're banking on the Texans to score some points and keep up. 8.5, 7.5, whatever you get them at, should be enough points for Houston in this game. Injury-wise, both teams look like they're going to be ready to go. Duke Johnson is questionable for the Texans, but otherwise, it looks like both teams are ready to go in this game. So taking Houston plus 8.5. That's my second pick. Third pick. So I'm betting both NFC East games. Okay, so first one, Dallas at the New York Giants. I have this game at Dallas -3. You will probably find the Cowboys now down to 1.5. If you get a square shop, maybe you get the Cowboys at -3. They're going to be public again. This is a trap game, and that's why I'm on the New York Giants +3. This is a trap game. Cowboys have won 3 in a row. Giants have lost 3 in a row. They're trending in opposite directions. They're both playing for the same thing. They both have a chance to win this division still. They played tough last time. I think it was 37-34 last time these two teams played. Again, a lot of people are going to want to pick Dallas. They've been playing well the last 3. They've won 3 in a row. They've been creating turnovers on defense. The offense looks like they're getting going. Daniel Jones is terrible. Like, everything is pointing Dallas aside. But let's remember, the Cowboys haven't played a good defense during this winning streak, except for San Francisco, which we were on. But Mullins turned over the ball 4 times. All right, there was like 21 points off turnovers. They got another 7 off an onside kick recovery. 28 of their 41 points were just garbage points. And they had, like I said, last week they played against I was on Philadelphia last week. I said what worried me about Philadelphia was their injuries on defense, and that's what happened. Dallas went up and down the field. The Giants have a better defense than Philly. The Giants have a better defense than what the Cowboys have faced in the last few weeks, aside from San Francisco. So how do the Giants win this game? They have to do what San Francisco, or they have to avoid what San Francisco did, and that was turn over the football. Again, that's what worries me in this game. Cowboys have forced 10 turnovers on defense the last 3 games during the winning streak. And what does Daniel Jones do best? He turns over the football. So it's a bit of a gamble. That's betting. If Jones turns over the football, the Giants, no bueno for them. They'll probably lose. But if he can protect the football, the Giants, I think, will have success moving the ball up and down the field. Looking at the injury report in this game, Golden Tate looks like he's doubtful, not going to play. But they're going to have Sterling Shepard. They're going to have Evan Ingram. So they're going to have most of their guys in the lineup. The Cowboys are without Van Der Esch, he's a big time playmaker on defense. So hopefully that helps out Jones a little bit. So the key to this game is protect the football for Jones. I think the Giants will be able to score some points, and I think the Giants defense will be able to do enough to stop the Cowboys offense in this game, because the Cowboys offense have been blessed with turnovers. But I think if you're just playing this team straight up, I don't like the connection yet with Andy Dalton and his receivers. He has great receivers, but I'm not a believer in Andy Dalton here. The Cowboys are very fraudulent. They're not a good football team. I keep saying that. Taking the Giants +3. Be careful with Dallas. I'm not saying they can't win, but it's trappy, and I'm going to go with the Giants. So that's my third pick. Last pick is the other NFC East matchup. Washington at Philadelphia. Washington a 2.5-point favorite. I'm going with the no names. I'm going with Washington -2.5. Looking at the injury report for this game, this is the one game where we really have to pay attention. Washington has 3 key players that we need to play in this game. Alex Smith, obviously, if he doesn't play, they might just lose this game. Probably will lose this game. He has been limited in practice all week. He's questionable for the game. I think he's going to play. Everything's on the line. We know he's a tough guy after everything he's been through. A calf strain to Alex Smith is nothing compared to what he's been through the last couple years. He's playing in this game. But the other 2 guys, Antonio Gibson, running back, questionable. He hasn't practiced this week. Terry McLaughlin, he's questionable. He's questionable. He hasn't practiced at all this week. I'm hoping, those 2 guys play. But I think they will. I think and I think in any other week they probably wouldn't. But everything's on the line. I think they're gonna suit up and play in this game. But when I look at Philadelphia's side, I mean, Fletcher Cox isn't playing. Dallas Goedert isn't playing. Deshaun Jackson isn't playing. Miles Sanders isn't playing. The Eagles are without a lot of skill position players. So, yeah, I think Washington's still going to be the healthier team here. They have a better defense. I'm taking Washington minus 2.5. I think they're the better team, but we need these guys to play. We need the starting quarterback, their starting running back, their one of their best receivers. We need those three guys to play, and if they do, I think they'll be okay in this game. I think cutting Haskins helps them a little bit. I think just getting him out of the way, out of the locker room, he wasn't a good fit there. I think he was a distraction for this team, so I think that helps him a little bit as well. So those are my 4 picks. I'm taking New England -3. I'm taking Houston +8.5. I'm taking the Giants +3, and I'm taking Washington -2.5. Washington's gonna win this division, I guess. But and I look at the NFC East and I'm like, how the hell does this happen? I think going forward, the NFL will change the rules because I understand a division winner getting in the playoffs because otherwise, why have divisions? Like, what's the incentive to win the division? But I think one of two things has to happen. Either if you want the division winner to get in, fine, but they can't be hosting a playoff game if they don't have a better record than the wildcard teams. The fact that one of these 3 teams, Washington, Dallas, or the Giants, are going to be in the playoffs and hosting a playoff game is crazy to me. So I think you got to strip away the home game, if you're this bad. Or just say, you know what? You want to win the division you're in, fine. But you got to at least have an 8-8. Like, you can't have potentially a 6-10 team making the playoffs. It's not good for the league. And regardless of who wins this division, honestly, they're going to be gone next week. They'll probably be a 7-point dog next week in the playoffs anyway. But regardless, I think the NFL will, because of what happened this year in this division, will change some rules there a little bit because it's just not good. Like, we can't. The Indianapolis Colts might not make the playoffs with 11 wins. Like, how the heck does a team that potentially has 6 wins make the playoffs? That's crazy to me. And host a playoff game. Like, I almost, I obviously want the Giants to win and want Washington to win. But a part of me is like, I want to see Dallas get in the playoffs because I know Jerry's going to fill that stadium in Texas next week. And it's going to be hilarious to see all those fans. So yeah, those are my 4 picks. Oh, man, hopefully we rebound well. But listen, it's been a good year. Like, subscribe, comment. Let's finish the season off strong. Be selective in week 17. We got playoffs. We got more important games next week. But let's just try to finish off with some wins. All right, guys, good luck in the last week of the season.